Everyone. I see we're already connected. I always have to wait because I'm never sure if YouTube's going to let me on. You won't believe how many times I've tried to get on and I start the stream and I'm talking and then I realize nobody's there. That happens a lot. Okay, two things quick this morning. Again, welcome as you come in. It is the morning of the 8th of October, 2021. And I think people are finally starting to realize how desperate of a situation this is. Not saying that we can't trust in God, but the thing is that we are under judgment. There's definitely no doubt about that. Pastor Chuck Baldwin, if any of you listen to him, he was talking either yesterday or the day before, I guess it was the day before, about the prophet Habakkuk. Habakkuk, I say. I don't think anybody really knows how to say his name, but anyway, and he talks about God telling him that God's going to destroy Jerusalem and Judah, and the reason because of their wickedness. And of course, what happens is that they're captured and they're taken into captivity, and the prophet can't understand why, because he thinks that the promises that were made to the people, are basically inviolate, and God says no, and so that's what happened. I don't want to see this. I don't want to see it, but it's in the process right now of occurring. And it's happening to all the supposed liberty-loving Western societies who have now turned on their people and put liberty, freedom, and individual rights on its head and made the state the God that they have to worship. And you all know what I'm talking about. And it all revolves around this entire thing with the GMI and, of course, the whole tracking system and everything, okay? And I'm not going to get into all the details. I saw one person on Twitter say, you all have got to stop focusing on this problem with the GMI and the health issue because that's a distraction. It's the cargo ships off the coast and stuff. Well, no doubt that's a problem. Hi, Mrs. Cat. But it's all part of the same system. We can't ignore any of it, okay? And I maintain. Hi, Jesse. Nice to see you. Yeah, we do have one major advantage, which I'm going to talk about here in a minute, which is in the description box below. And I'm going to get that in just a minute. But everything that's happening is based upon this main attack that's coming in through this supposed procedure. Okay, that is the crux of it all. I even maintain that is actually the mark of the beast, that part of the system. Okay, that's enough of that. We talked about 2 months ago, I mentioned this a lot, put up a video some months ago about military people, particularly the field grade officers, telling each other that they had to get ready and get their houses in order. And people didn't know what I was talking about. They thought it was a war or what else. Well, we are in a war. That was the point. Not only the shortages are happening, and I'm getting information on that every day from supply chain people that are in the know, saying, no, this is broken. This is going to be bad here in about a month or two. Gretchen Smith of she has Code of Vets. Her husband apparently is a vice president of a supply chain company, and now she's saying, yes, he's saying it's done. Get ready, because it's here. Well, there you go, okay? Another military person talking about this. Well, apparently they also knew about how they were going to use this medical procedure, these GMIs, to purge police, military, healthcare people, etc., because they know that primarily the people that are going to take this are going to be the woke CRT type people, okay? So we're witnessing the same types of purges that occurred under the Soviet Union, China, and other authoritarian regimes, particularly Marxist communist ones. It's happening here, and our own government is doing it to us under the pretense of our health. Does it make any sense to fire nurses and doctors over not taking the jab who have been there for the last 18 months and then stress the healthcare system that way and bring in National Guard or anybody else who's not possibly trained to the level they need to be? I saw one person make a really good point, and I don't remember if it was Spiro or who it was, but they said, no, this is all wrong. Put the National Guard on the border and put the doctors and nurses back to work. But that's not how it's going to happen. And we're seeing massive purges across the board. Now, yesterday on Twitter, I should have probably put some of the links on here, but yesterday on Twitter, Stephen Coughlin, it's at Stephen Coughlin, he's part of unconstrainedanalytics.org, put up a lot of information, probably some of the best I've seen that was concise, on the laws regarding EUAs, and that nobody can be forced to take it, especially not in the military. But that goes for anybody. So if you have access to Twitter, go to at Stephen Coughlin, look it up there. I also retweeted it on my account. And you can go to unconstrainedanalytics.org. I don't know if he's published it there, but you can at least go and then have some interaction with his work. Very important, because this thing under color of law, you notice they keep saying there's a mandate, right? I forget who said this. I think it was Legal Man, but I'm not sure. It may have been somebody else on Twitter saying, it's interesting. We keep hearing about these mandates, right? That Biden's, burping out of his mouth. I'm using a phrase of monograph there. And yet there's nothing written anywhere. There's no law, and yet all of these corporations are falling in line, including the military, enforcing a mandate that has no legal, lawful precedent. Well, that's the wrong word. Legal or lawful basis. Under any code whatsoever, okay? Because it's a communist, Marxist takeover of the Five Eyes countries. It's been ongoing for some time. I've warned about it for decades. I've seen the diminishment in the military, in the police, the militarization of the police, and all of these woke CRTs that are being taken in. I warned about that even with the FBI. People saying, oh, no, 99% of the FBI are good guys. No, they're not. And I've warned about this. You can go back and see my FBI corruption series in the playlist here on my YouTube channel. And that's just been in the last 5 or 6 years. I've been talking about this since basically the 80s. The IC is our most dangerous domestic enemy, and they, along with the banks and politicians like Biden and others, I'm not going to say everything right now, have sold us out. Number one, because of our own evil and wickedness, the things that we've allowed this government to do in our names. Not only to the world, but to ourselves, to our unborn children, to our children. And now, parents that go to defend their children, and I'm going to tell you this, and I said it on Twitter this morning, and I sent it to Psaki, the press secretary for Biden. I said, you're calling parents' activity to defend their children illegal? Well, I'll tell you what, Psaki. There is a total moral, legal, ethical responsibility on parents to defend their children by any means necessary. And she said that's not legal. Well, they violate law with impunity constantly. But you can't come down on the government because the government's God. No. They are violating the law. They're lawbreakers, they're criminals, they're traitors, and they're selling you out. However, how far do we go? Remember, I talked about Habakkuk, however you want to say it, at the beginning of this video. When he knew that the country was under judgment, Judah at the time, for their gross violations of law, and you have no idea how bad it was. They had taken in the child sacrifices and all that of their surrounding pagan neighbors. Pagan is somebody else other than yourself, but I'm using this in general terms. I could get real detailed, but I don't want the message to be lost. So, in the description box below are actually 3 links. The first one is to ex-Navy SEAL, former Navy SEAL, Craig Sawyer. I know a lot of you don't like him. It doesn't matter. What he says in this is absolutely important because it goes along with what I warned about 2 months ago that they were telling each other to get their houses in order. They saw the purges coming. They saw the shortages. And what he says in this video, it's about a minute and a half, you need to listen to it. Absolutely imperative that you hear it. And I'm going to address it again in just a minute. The second two links are from a black gentleman, apparently by the name of Billy Prempeh, I guess is how you say his name. I'm not really sure. He's running for a Republican. He's a Republican candidate in New Jersey. And some of you have already seen this video. I've put two links in there, one to Facebook, one to Twitter. I tried to get one off of WayneDuprees.com and I couldn't get it. The best that I could get was Facebook. So, maybe a lot of you won't be able to see it. But this black gentleman explains why the black community, especially in New York area, New Jersey, are hesitating on these vaccines. And I shouldn't have said that. Dang it. And rightly so, because of the history that those people have gone through. And really, all of us have. And I'm not going to say any more because I don't want to trip the AI into coming over, okay? The point is that they have been using us for medical experiments for lots of reasons, and for eugenics and euthanasia for decades. And now we've moved into an operational phase where it's a kinetic warfare against us. All right? So there are two links by Billy who really laid it out. And I think his video is like 2.5 or 3 minutes long. Probably 2 minutes because I think it was on TikTok. Very, very good. That guy is a hero. And I want to thank October Rain's monograph for getting that out to us, because I think that's where it first came from. Maybe not. Maybe he just passed it on. I saw from him. It originally came from WayneDupree.com. So thank you, Wayne Dupree. Thank you, Monograph, October Rains, and everybody else who's spreading that around, because that is truth. That man speaks absolute 100% truth. God bless him for doing what he's done. Now, going back to Craig Sawyer and the purges that are going on in the military and the police and the healthcare, everywhere, really, everywhere. I keep hearing people say that they're going to fix it in 2022 and 2024, and that Trump is some type of an amazing savior, that if we can just get back into office, everything will be okay. A lot of people are starting to question themselves on that now. I'm not going to name them here, but they're people I've been hitting up about this for months, if not years. And they're finally, I think, starting to see that he is not the answer. He's part of the problem. He's what got us here. He's the one that pushed the conservatives to this point to accept what he did, which would have been the same thing that Hillary Clinton and Biden is doing now. Elections, the electoral process will never work again in the United States of America. Ever. Thank you. Who put that up? Ms. Cat, thank you for putting that up on Wayne Dupree. The system is never going to allow you to put the right people in office any longer. It will never happen. Not unless the government is totally destroyed and we build it from the bottom up. Well, no, I don't want to see that. But it's going to be balkanized, as I've said. The left is even talking about it. There are all kinds of problems with that. But here's the thing. Both Craig Sawyer and others have said that the people as a whole need to rise up. The problem is you've waited too long. The reason why they're moving so quickly at the levels that they are now is because they've put in all of these security safeguards and surveillances, not to protect you, but so that they can watch you, because you are their enemy. So any attempt that you make to rise up in any degree, January 6th, and the way the FBI infiltrated that, the way they infiltrated Bundy Ranch, the way they infiltrated all of these different organizations that are trying to make things right. The FBI and the IC are the enemy of freedom and of the American people and of the world's people at large, because they all are looking forward to when they get to take over completely. So, Craig, I appreciate what you said today, but this is how I view it. We don't want this country to be saved in the way that it is right now. It needs to be thoroughly and totally destroyed, whether we like it or not. What can happen is that there must be state governors and legislators that are willing to stand up and be the competent authority that we can gather around. I'm willing to go to any state and give it my support. But I don't see one worthy of it yet. Ron DeSantis, well, apparently, I'm not saying this is what happened, but his wife came down with cancer. Gee, I wonder how that happened. The timing on it, in my estimation, is very suspicious. It may not have anything to do with his stand, but I wouldn't doubt that it does. And I could say other people that I think have probably been attacked in similar ways, very likely. The point is, I don't know of any governor or state legislature at this point, and if it waits any longer, it'll never work anyway, even if they do it. They have to stand up now. They have to make state militias, not the damn National Guard. That's fine if the National Guard is with them, but a lot of them aren't. Start up state militias like the one that's in Texas, under the governor, and Lieutenant Colonel Allen West, who was a representative, a congressman from Florida, then moved to Texas, was approached, I guess, and he joined that militia and was given his rank in the state militia, not the National Guard. I don't want to see a shooting fight. But when Psaki can get up there and say that parents are doing illegal activities by defending their children, and she can stand there and not talk about the illegalities of their government, the government that Psaki is helping to administrate, there is no recourse. We must separate from them totally, or we will all go down. They're cutting off your supplies. The supply chain's broken. Thousands of ships off our shores. Who knows what's in them? Some of them merchandise that can't be delivered. Some of our merchandise that can't be delivered elsewhere. And possibly military-age men or weapons systems. Who knows? Because nobody's watching out for us, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody. It's true there's only God, but what does that mean? It means you have to take God's attributes and ask him to help you to exemplify them, to take them internally and become them, or he's not going to do much. All right? So you can, if you keep supporting this government, if you keep doing these things that we've been doing, going watching your Netflix, whatever, and you think, oh, God's going to take care of it, guess what? No, he isn't. It's going to be just like Habakkuk. That's where we are. So, go look at the links in the description box. Craig Sawyer's warning is about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes long. Billy's, the black man is running as a Republican candidate in New Jersey. His is about 2 or 3 minutes long. The purges are designed to destroy us. My wife, Carol, I was going through some very difficult emotional times, and it was really unfair to her. She didn't like my negativity. I certainly understand why, because she was a very positive lady. But I could not understand why I could not make sense with people. certain people that I was having troubles with. And she told me this, and it's very true, and it's in Habakkuk as well. She said to me, Roy, you cannot use logic in a situation that has none. There is no logic, there is no reason, there's only tyranny and the asinine machinations of devils and demons in our government at every level, from the president all the way down to your water meter reader. That's the way it is. And how many people are running to get their participation up in this scam that's going on so that they can return to their pleasures and turn their back on what's really important. That's all I got. I took up some time from David Knight here, but I had to get it up now because I'm going to head out and I'm not sure that I'm going to have access to the internet. Okay? I wish she was still here. Who's saying that? David Farr. Yeah, God bless Carol. I miss her sorely. Like most of you know, she died of ovarian cancer in 2008, which, by the way, was I don't know if I told you, but apparently she was attacked. Okay, I think it was an attack of some sort. But I won't go into there. I've talked about it before. And of course, it was to get to me, and it definitely did. All right. Y'all take care. We'll talk to you later out here. Go see what's in the description box. Very important.